Let me start with this. It's going to be a hard conversation. I'm Whitney, and I'm currently living in Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and my thoughts and prayers are with the families impacted by the terrorist attack in New Orleans, Louisiana on New Year's Eve. I've been living abroad now for 1 year. I spent 5 months in Medellin, Colombia. In that time, I went home in May. I also did a quick flight for a wedding in March. And I'm talking about Colombia, the country that gets a really bad rep for being unsafe, for drugs, for violence, for sex tourism. I felt more peace and calm there than when I go home. The level of anxiety that I have when I go back to the States, it's it's something that I always knew was there, but when you go without it and then you get it back, that's when you acknowledge that this doesn't have to be normal. And I'm not saying that Colombia is safer or unsafe than the US, but what I'm saying is, for the most part, in Colombia, bullets have names, if you get what I'm putting down. In America, it doesn't matter. You can be a kid in a classroom, a concert attendee, or simply just driving on the street or attending a New Year's Eve celebration, bringing in the new year with friends and family, and boom. I'm getting ready to go back home in January at the end of this month. And I already had these thoughts because now I'm in Vietnam, and in Southeast Asia, it's a different level of peace and safety that I feel. Just the other night, I was walking home and it was dark, and there was never a concern or a question on if I'm going to be safe. I feel unsafe in the daytime when I'm in America. And I think the message here are two things. One, I made this TikTok video, and someone who moved from Vietnam to America said, I remember the first time hearing gunshots. And I think it put in perspective that there are people in this world that haven't even heard a gunshot. And I was 5 years old when I saw my first dead body from a gunshot. There's just certain things that in America that we have adapted as norm that isn't most people's norm. And I'm, again, not saying that one is worse than the other, but when it comes to safety, when it comes to do I live, we have a lot of work to do in America when it comes to gun control, when it comes to violence. It just doesn't have to be that way. And honestly, I had the thought maybe I should just tell my mom to pack up my things and ship it to me. Because the reason why I'm going home is, if you don't know, I started this trip in August with just a carry on and a backpack, came to Vietnam, fell in love, decided that after my year sabbatical that I'm not returning to corporate America, and then I'm going to come to Vietnam, teach part-time while I work on content creation and doing things like this, sharing different perspectives, different narratives, things that I've learned through travel. And honestly, I want to tell her, here are the list of things that I need. put it in a suitcase and send it. But I do want to see my family. But now I have to think about the cost and the risk associated with just going home. And I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So when I go home, there is something to be worried about. Since I've been here, before even the terrorist attack in Baton Rouge, in my home city, there was a life lost just to reckless shooting on the street. There was a mom who lost their kid and had to birth a kid on the same day. Like, this is the norm that children are growing up in, and it shouldn't be like this. And I know there's this narrative about other parts of the world that is put out there. Let me be the first to tell you it's wrong. Go see for yourself. Come, go get a passport, apply for whatever visas, do your research. Don't just go anywhere. I'm not saying that. But just go and see how your body feels and how it can react and respond to different ways of life. Again, prayers and blessings to those families that have been impacted. My thoughts and prayers are with you. It just doesn't have to be like that. That's it. All right. Bye.